78 Sports TV here with my brother, trainer and father of world champion Sean Showtime Porter, Mr. Kenny Porter. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well, thank you very much.
All right, all right. So Sean has been in the news lately. Juan Manuel Marquez has called him out and said that he'll be interested in the fight with Sean. Also, Richard Schaefer has came out and made some statements that we know that Kell Brook is the mandatory for the IBF right now, but he says that he'll try to make a possible Keith Thurman fight before a Kell Brook fight. And Sean Porter's name is not even being mentioned in the conversation for Floyd Mayweather, which is odd to me. So I want to get your views and opinions on this, sir. So what do you think next for Showtime?
You know, at this point, we really don't know the direction that he's going in and who we're going to be fighting. Obviously, the information that's come to us about the mandatory with Kell Brook, that's something that they're exploring right now, but they have not given me any details on that. A little bit of information came to me that we could possibly have a voluntary fight before the mandatory fight. I am going to ask the question, how does a guy stay so relevant who pulled out an X amount of fights over the last year or 2 years? I don't know how many times he pulled out with Devin Alexander. How does he stay relevant and stay the mandatory? But that's as much as I know about that at this point. As far as the Juan Manuel situation, I think that's a very interesting fight. It's one that I would welcome as well. I mentioned it to Sean, and I saw excitement in his eyes. I think that's a great fight. As far as Richard Schaefer mentioning Keith Thurman and Sean Porter, I'm quite sure that their name is going to come up a lot together because two young guys, same weight class, doing very well at this point in their careers, and I'm sure that that's going to happen, from time to time. But I have not been contacted about that at all.
Okay. So if the Marquez situation does happen, how do you see that fight playing out? Do you see Marquez as still being a dangerous opponent at his age, at 40 years old?
Yeah, I think he's definitely a dangerous opponent. I think he's what is he, four different weight classes world champion? Maybe?
Yeah, 4 different weight classes, yes.
Right, and he would like to get a fifth. We'd love to give him the opportunity because, that within itself, will spur him to work harder than he's ever worked before to try to win a title in another weight class. I definitely think he's a dangerous opponent, and he's one that we will be very interested in sitting down to the table with.
Okay, does it bother you at all that that Sean's name is not even coming up in conversations as a opponent for Floyd Mayweather? Some people are acting like Amir Khan is the only guy left in the universe for Mayweather to fight at 147.
No, it doesn't bother me. A guy, which I don't like the name drop, but there's someone that I spoke to and Sean spoke to that is a former world champion who lives here in Vegas, and he's not like a world champion back in the 80s or nothing. This guy was a world champion in recent history here in the heavyweight division. He looked at Sean, he said, "Listen, I'm not trying to bust your bubble. I'm not trying to take your dream away from you. I'm not trying to discourage you, but I'm telling you right now, emphatically, he is not going to fight you. It's not going to happen. He's not going to take that chance." And Sean looked at him not going to even get a chance to unify the belt because they're going to keep that guy over to the side for him as well. So, you know, as far as us not being mentioned in that conversation, I fully understand why.
Oh,
you know, there's a reason why our name isn't coming up. There's a reason why there's no response to anyone who has, you know, asked a question about that. You know, there's just a place that they don't want to go. So.
Right. Okay, well that makes sense. You know, same thing I'm thinking, but you know, I'm glad somebody else. I'm not the only person who feel like that, but You were telling me earlier about Sean and more things that you would like to see him accomplish outside of the ring. You care to talk about that at all, as far as how you would like to see him grow?
Oh, well, you know, just in terms of, excuse me, just in terms of winning a world title, the reality is that winning the world title is just now you've began another phase of your career, and now you've actually began the phase of your career that people are now going to determine whether you're a true champion or you're just somebody that got lucky one night. You know,
right?
I don't sugarcoat things. You know, I tell him exactly what I think and exactly what I believe. So I told him, you know, yeah, you won, but you know, I'm not impressed. That's him trying to call me on the other line. Sorry, you hear that blinking?
Right.
But I'm not impressed, and you know, if you really want to solidify yourself, clean out this division, take on all the challenges that you know that come to you. You know, challenge yourself and clean out this welterweight division, and then we can actually say that we've done something. You know, and move on to bigger and better things. But you know, at this point, you know, I try to keep him grounded and make him understand. You know, that's just one fight. So you know, the reality of the situation is the way I present it to him. You are now 1-0 as a professional boxer. You got a long way to go.
Okay.